Well, g'day North fans, and welcome to the members Q&A. We've got Eddie Ford here, we've got Will Phillips, we've got Tommy Powell and Charlie Lazaro all joining us for a Q&A. Your questions have been sent in, and we're going to kick it off straight away. First question from Paul Moon. For each of the young fellas, what's been the biggest shock or surprise you've encountered since being at North Melbourne? Tommy, we'll kick off with you.
I think the biggest one for me would probably be an on-field change, which is just the speed that everything's played at. So teammates, the opposition on game day, everything's just so much faster than what I'm used to. So that's definitely something on field that I guess has been a big surprise to me.
How about for you, Will?
Yeah, it's a good point, Pally. So I'll just get my cat out of the video. Yeah, the biggest surprise for me is probably how important I was shocked at how important your balance and your time away from the club actually is, and how much of an impact it has on you. Yeah, we have a lot of spare time as footballers. In any job, you get spare time, but I feel that as footballers, it's really key that we maximise that and use it to our advantage, so that we can come to the club ready to train and play.
Eddie?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest sort of surprises to me was the amount of time they do like in the vision and in meetings and stuff. Sort of coming from where I played footy previously, we never did really a lot of vision and just a lot of walkthroughs and talk-throughs stuff to manage the game. So I think just all the stuff upstairs is probably the newest thing to me.
Go for it, Charlie.
Yeah, I think similar to Eddie, I think just the deep analysis of opposition and the way we look at different structures and exploit deficiencies in the opposition's game, trying to show us how we can win. I think that's probably been the biggest surprise for me coming into the North Melbourne Footy Club.
Okay, next question's from James King, and he's curious to know who are the senior players that have taken you under their wing the most. So we'll just go around the room in that same order and maybe just name a player that's been the biggest influence and what they've actually taught you. Just like a quick fire, bang, bang, bang.
Well, yeah, I'll start. I think for me, Cunners has been someone that's been really good to learn off. He is a similar but different player to me. He's super strong and big body at stoppage, so it's good to learn how to play against someone like that, but also what you can do to beat him, I guess. So he's someone that's been really good to learn off, and his wisdom from being at the club for so long is super helpful.
Yeah, you stole mine there, Powley. But there's plenty of them, and for me, it's probably Tom Campbell. I played I played VFL with him the first two rounds, and was lucky enough to play with him last week, and he acts as a bit of a fatherly figure for me. Like just the way he supports you when he sees you. Yeah, he just really gets around everyone and makes a conscious effort to do that, and I really admire that about him.
Yeah, I think I was actually going to say Tommy as well. He's very quite an intelligent man. So yeah, just being around him is good to be around, and I think anything he says is pretty useful, especially around footy. I've played a few games with him as well in the VFL, and he's been really good for me. So yeah, him too.
I'm probably split between two. I'm going to say Robbie Tarrant and Jai Simpkin. Robbie, because I think he's probably taken a few of us first years under his wing and really tried to develop us not only on field but off field. I think he's got really strong leadership skills and tries to look out for us first year boys. And I think secondly, Jai Simpkin, because I feel like from the very first day I walked into the club, he kind of took me under his wing, and I feel like I was just trying to keep up with him the whole pre-season and trying to do everything I could to do drills and different activities with him. But I think, yeah, he's been really good for me.
Because we've got like three of you guys that obviously play through the midfield a fair bit, and Tommy, with you saying with Ben Cunnington, but being someone that's taken you under his wing, can I just ask you all, like, if you actually had time playing on him during training, and what's it actually like to try and bring him down in the contest?
Yeah, unfortunately we have.
Yeah, I'm sure all you guys have seen that vision of me getting the stiff arm and then photos of Charlie copping it as well. There's not a lot you can do, but I think just at stoppage, you just try to play to our strength. which is not engaging with body contact with him and just trying to play him from behind.
Okay. Michael Cox has asked, understanding that things can change over time, but at this point in time, do any of you guys have leadership aspirations? Obviously, it's pretty early for you guys, but do you sort of think that one day you might work your way into the leadership group and then, maybe one day be a skipper of North Melbourne?
For me, at the moment, I just try and focus on one day at a time. I don't look too far into the future. I just like to sort of more lead by my on-field example. I'm not the most vocal person at training, but I understand that you don't need a title to be a leader. So we'll all be leaders at some stage after we get a few games under our belt and understand the structures, I guess.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think leadership's a pretty broad term, but it's a lot to do with the way you carry yourself naturally. And I guess my approach is just to be the best person and the best leader I can be each time I engage with someone or step onto the track. There's no sort of tangible goal that I hope for in terms of captain or vice captain or leadership group or whatever. But it's just about, constantly having that vision to be the best you can be for your teammates in the club.
Charlie, there's a question here from Keith Payne. Do you feel intimidated playing at AFL level, or do you feel empowered to just do what you've always sort of done, and that's, obviously to play footy?
Yeah, I think there's probably there's both aspects of that. I think playing at AFL level, I think obviously coming in, there's some big names around the competition, and there's some players that have been playing for a really long time, and they're certified superstars. So you kind of still pinch yourself. I think every now and then you run out. I know against the Dogs, there was certainly a lot of very, very good footballers playing that day, and I think there is an element of intimidation, but I think when you get drafted, there's certainly an understanding that your good's good enough. And I think it does empower you to become, or it kind of forces you to become confident in your ability. And I think over the preseason, all us first years have really knuckled down and had really good preseasons. And I feel like that's probably setting us up for hopefully a really bright future.
Cool, man. Amelia King wants to know if anyone's got advice on how to make it to AFL, or in her case, AFLW level. She also wanted to say you're all amazing players, and you make her feel excited for the future, and she loves you all. But yeah, any advice on, what to do, I suppose, a junior player that's eyeing off a list on an AFLW or an AFL spot? Eddie, what did you do? Like, what were the things that you did?
I think for Amelia's case, just to work hard. I think, sort of using facilities, using everyone around you that you got, your coaches and stuff, to gradually get better and to play AFLW. So, footy can be a lot of sort of in the mind as well. So it's getting mentally strong to keep performing week in, week out. But yeah, I think the main thing is just a lot of hard work. If you get rocking up training and not really doing it with a purpose, well, then you won't go nowhere. But if you have a purpose and want to go to training, you want to get better, and then you will. So just keep working hard.
Cool. Steph Cross says, can you give the members an inside club perspective of, I suppose, the level of excitement you feel as young players and what the future might hold for not only yourselves at North Melbourne, but for the club? Like, we all know we're rebuilding at the moment. You guys are the foundation of that. But the level of excitement that you all sort of feel about what's going on at North Melbourne and what the future might hold. Tommy?
I think for me, we all don't really know any different than, I guess, playing together and playing with excitement. So all us young boys, we just train how we train, and I think we naturally create a bit of excitement for the older boys. So if we're training hard and using our voice, it means that if the young boys are doing it, they've got no choice but to, I guess, follow in our footsteps indirectly. So I think, yeah, that's about it from me.
Charlie, does the future of the club sort of excite you, like knowing that it's sort of, you guys can make it whatever it is to be?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Boomer said from day dot that this first year group's a group within a group. And I think there's a lot of exciting footballers just in the first year, let alone with the talent we've got on our list. I think being such a young group, there's so much to look forward to. And I think the fans and everyone that is a member of North Melbourne should be so excited for not only the rest of this year, but for certainly what's to come. I think we're building towards something really special, and I think you guys should come on the journey with us.
Yeah, well said, man. Terry Franklin, you might be able to answer this one, Will, because Terry Franklin was just wondering about how many days a week do you guys train, and how does football in general affect your private life, if you have time for one, that is. So, and I suppose on the back of that, I might get you all just to sort of mention, because there was a lot of supporters were wondering what you guys do outside of football as well. So, Will, if you could answer that question, then we'll just go around the room and ask what you guys do outside.
So, if we play Sunday to Sunday, I worked it out the other day, it equals about 26 to 28 hours, depending on whether you want to get there early or stay there late afterwards to do some extras. So that's how long we spend. Of that, there's probably 2 main days where we get there at around 8 or 9 or somewhere around that, and go till like 2, 3, 4. Us first years, we probably have a few more commitments with the AFLPA and don't have families to get home to, so we probably stick around a little bit more, as do the young players, the other younger players as well. So yeah, like the 2 main days, I guess we do. One of them's a main training session, and then the other one's sort of a lighter session. But in between all that, there's a bunch of meetings, there's injury preventions, weights, help me out boys, there's recovery, lunch. Yeah, there's so much that we can be doing. And the second part, that question, I'll answer that now. So, do we have a private life? Yes. What does it look like? It's different for everyone. So for me, I'm a bit of a social bug. So, and that, I probably haven't worked out what my number one hobby is as such just yet. So, yeah, I guess for me that's socialising. And yeah, I often catch up with people every day, whether it's after work or on my day off. And yeah, that's my number one sort of hobby. And I try and spend time with people who don't nail me about footy either, because you spend so much time at the club talking about footy and how you're going and how the team's going and your performance and everything, that you sort of just want to get away from it a little bit. So whilst I still spend time with people who ask me those questions, I also make sure I'm spending time with people who give me a bit of a release from the club and from footy. Yeah.
What about you, Eddie? What do you have as an interest outside of football?
I play a bit of guitar, so I picked that up 5 years ago and enjoy doing that every now and then when I got time. And yeah, like we also just hang out with boys and getting out and doing fun things like playing tennis or something, just taking it easy, enjoying life.
Charlie?
Telling jokes.
Jokes.
Tell a bit of jokes every now.
You got one for us, Ed? He's thinking about it.
I don't. But I think my editor is that who can drink 5 litres of petrol? Jerry can.
Nice. I'm glad you kept it G-rated as well. Thanks for that. Charlie, outside of footy?
Yeah, I think I'm similar to Will and Eddie in a sense. I love catching up with my friends. I think it's so important to have, obviously, mates that don't fluster you about footy all the time. It's such a vital thing. I think I've learned more so than I already had in the past, that during your days off and during the year, it's so important to catch up with people that and take your mind off footy and make sure you balance out your footy with your social life, with your friends. And although it is work, we love doing it, but we still want to have to catch up with our friends and see our friends. And normally on a day off, rain, hail or shine, you'll probably see me at the beach. So I love the beach, and obviously growing up down in Geelong, having access to Torquay, Lawn, Anglesea. Yeah, I've always loved the beach. So that's
surfing or sunbaking. You didn't clarify.
I'm not a great surfer, so I've probably sunbaked more, to be honest.
Tommy, what about you out of footy?
Yeah, I also, as these boys all do, like to socialise. I don't have as many outside of footy friends in Melbourne yet, as I'm from SA. So it's good for me to keep in touch with those people back in Adelaide, whether that's just giving them a phone call or playing video games with them. But I'm also at uni, so dedicate a bit of time each week to do that. Just part-time at the moment, because obviously footy's my number one priority, but I'd like to keep continuing with my degree and just have it ticking in the background. So I do that, and then I like watching all sports, playing a bit of golf, tennis, as Footy said, and I catch up with my girlfriend a bit.
Yeah, cool. You did make me think of something before, Eddie, when you said you play guitar, and this one's a question from me about nicknames. What is your nickname at the club and why?
My nickname's Elvis, like Elvis Presley. That's because I had sideburns when I first walked into the club. Haven't got them right now.
What happened?
I just haven't had them for a while. I just got rid of them, keep a clean shave. I've got like this stuff going on here, but it's not very good, so I'll get rid of it soon.
And the earrings as well. Interesting.
Just a bit of Elvis about me. I don't know. So that was Jai. He came up with that. So yeah, it stuck pretty well. Yeah. I'll take Elvis. I respond to it. So yeah.
Good. Charlie, your nickname?
Yeah, so I was similar to Eddie. First few days, Jai pulled me aside and decided to start calling me Lizard. Not exactly sure the origin of that, but it has stuck, and I'm happy to go with it. So that's been good.
It's because of the last name, maybe, or?
Yeah, I think it might be a bit to do with that. I can't imagine any events that had happened that made me get that nickname. So I hope it's the last name.
Tommy, do you have anything?
Some of the boys call me Slide, which is my PlayStation username. It's not actually Slide, but it's something else, but they just don't read it properly.
And Will, do you have anything?
I've got a few different ones. Phil Willips. Willips. Yeah, they're probably three. Can you guys think of any others? They're probably. Oh yeah, what? Yeah, John. Yeah, WAP's my initials, so WAP. That's my initials. John calls me WAP.
I like that. Jacob Marazita, have the dietary and types of food that you're allowed to eat since being drafted changed? And is there anything that you guys miss eating or drinking since becoming AFL footballers and things sort of like becoming more sort of tightening up, I suppose, in that respect? Charlie, you're nodding away like there is something that I miss eating.
Yeah, I've always loved KFC. I've had to cut back on my KFC. But I think throughout as a junior, I was pretty tenacious about my approach to footy, and I tried not to eat too much bad stuff. But obviously, you got to reward yourself sometimes, and KFC is a great hit if you haven't tried it out there.
You're sponsored by them or something?
Nah, no sponsor. I just love KFC.
McDonald's is a good sponsor of North Melbourne, by the way. So could have slipped that one in there.
Oh, should have.
But is there anything is there anything that does it change like from a dietary perspective? Like, because obviously you guys need to find your energy for training and games. So I know pre-game meals, heavy in carbs and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm not the best person to ask about the diet stuff. I was actually surprised when I got to the club that Jono told us that basically in the off season you can eat what you like, and after the game you can eat what you like, because the amount of exercise we do, we're not going to put on weight too easily. But it's important, obviously, in the lead up to the game what you eat. But during the game we have a lot of electrolytes. I ask for lollies, but get refused consistently. But nah, nothing. I haven't changed my diet a whole heap, if I'm being honest.
Okay. And is there anything that anyone misses eating while we're at it? Eddie or Will?
Krispy Kreme donuts.
Krispy Kreme donuts. Okay. Yep. John would have a heart attack if you heard that.
Yeah, it would be nice.
Jimmy Dore, welcome to the club, fellas. Hope you've enjoyed your starts at North Melbourne. Have you all been through much of the Shinboner history and what it's all about? And what are your thoughts on how you'll be continuing that spirit into the future? Will?
Yeah, Shinboner history. We sit down with Gavin Brown and Boomer Harvey every 2 or 3 weeks, and they give us little tasks. We've had like a homework task where we had to research a bit about the history of the club. we were given another task where we had to call some of the former players that wore our respective numbers. So I had to call the other guys that wore number 29. Unfortunately, I didn't get a response. I'm not sure about the other guys, but yeah, it's a pretty big thing, the Shimbona history, isn't it? I think pulling my jumper on game day sort of reflected that I have such pride for the Shimbona spirit. And yeah, it's something that it just came to me in the moment, but it's something I'm proud of, and not sure what this one was, but yeah.
Nick Honeywood wants to know what each of you has set as individual goals from now until the end of the season. So, Charlie, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything too specific, Nick. I think for me, it was more so just about playing as many senior games as I could. I think if I look back, I know I had a chat to Steve, our psychologist, last week, just about saying how far I've probably come in 12 months. I really feel like I've come in leaps and bounds, considering I played 3 games of football last year at all. And then to come out and say that I've played rounds 1 to 4, it's pretty special. So for me to just kind of knuckle down, keep doing what I'm doing, being able to play as many senior games this year as I can, and hopefully the rest takes care of itself.
Eddie?
Yeah, well, I don't have anything too specific either. I think just trying to play a few games this year would be nice. Trying to sort of crack into the team and almost not cement, but always be in consideration to play in the best 22 each week. So at the moment, I'm just playing VFL and trying to put in some good performances. But I think that's my sort of goal for the while.
Tom?
Yeah, if I'm being honest, I don't really set goals often. I don't like to look too far into the future. I guess right now the only thing I want to do is get my first win with the Kangaroos. So that's probably the only goal, which isn't, I guess, specific to me. I'm sure the boys want to win, but I desperately want one.
Yeah, Will?
Yeah, similar to Tom. I don't like to look too far into the future and set specific goals, because then, if something happens, you have to change it, and there's always things changing. So I guess for me, I sort of just take it week by week and try and stay as present as possible. And, that gets me to ultimately, the point where hopefully I've reached my potential. I think maximising or reaching my potential is the ultimate goal in life, as a player and a person. Yeah.
Hussein Karakulak wants to know, who did you guys support as kids? And he also put in brackets that you won't be judged on your answers.
Well, I'm
Tom,
sure.
we'll get yours out of the way first.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll be judged, but I used to go for Gold Coast. So I basically followed Gary Ablett. I got to meet him as a youngster, so Gold Coast ever since then.
Okay. Charlie? Sorry, go, Eddie, go.
I was a Saints fan, Hussein. So, grew up with them. Dad follows them, but most of the family's Essendon. So I'm a Saints fan.
Charlie?
So I've always been a Geelong supporter, coming from Geelong, but that stemmed. So my pa's brother played for Geelong. And yeah, I've always been a Geelong supporter until obviously being drafted by North, and it's Royal Blue and White through and through now.
So your grandfather's brother played for Geelong. What was his name?
So his name was Frank Pomeroy, so it's not a Lazaro. But he played, I think, 50 senior games for Geelong. So that's a little bit of history there. Okay.
Will?
Yeah, I was born into a Collingwood family, so loved the black and white up until probably last year, and sort of when I knew that I was a chance to get drafted, I stopped really barracking for them. So yeah.
Okay, a couple from Twitter now. So the index tracker on Twitter. What do you see as the biggest strength, and then what's your biggest weakness in your game right now? And second question, who did you rate as the best player in your draft? So, Will, you can start. Hang on, just before we go, apparently Charlie, Rob Burton, who's the head of digital here, just passed this on to me. Apparently your grandfather's brother played for North Melbourne. He played 10 games for North Melbourne in 1964.
There you go.
Before he went That was at the end of his career. So he started Geelong in 1959 and finished at North Melbourne in 1960.
There you go. It's in the blood.
In the blood. There you go. All right. So we'll go back to that question from the Index Tracker on Twitter. So what's your biggest strength? What's your biggest weakness? And who was the best player in your draft class? Go, Will.
Biggest strength, maybe my inside work, my ability to win the ball in tight and distribute it cleanly to my teammates. I don't really like the term weakness. I'd probably call them areas of improvement. But yeah, growth area, that's a good one. Probably marking. I haven't really done much training on marking, and it's pretty rare when I take a contested mark. So might need to do a bit on that. Best player in the draft. It's hard to say that now. You know, a lot of the media sort of get throwing some names around and get all caught up in that. But I think we'll know probably in 15 years who the best player in the draft was. And but ultimately, I don't think you can ever really know, because you know they go to different teams, they live different lives. And but Jamara was you know, probably a worthy number one, considering what he did in his bottom age year. It's pretty exciting. Yeah.
Eddie, strength, weakness, best player in the draft.
I think one of my strengths is my aerial contest. So contrasting Will, I'm a bit taller than the blokes here, so yeah, probably my aerial stuff. And one of my areas of improvement is probably just positioning. As a forward, I find myself in some odd positions sometimes, so just make sure I get that all correct and good. So I don't know. Let's go Will Phillips. He's a pretty good player.
Right. Yes. Tommy?
Yeah, that's the right answer, Eddie. My strength would probably be my decision making. I think that's something that has helped me as a junior. I like to think make good decisions on the field. An area of improvement for me would probably be my strength and my body work around stoppage. I'm still quite lean, so just being smart with how I maneuver my body around stoppage is really important, especially for all us young players, but me personally. And then the best player in the draft, I didn't play with the majority of them, so I can really only speak from the SA boys so far, but Riley Thilthorpe was a really good player as a youngster. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Charlie?
I think probably some of the major strength in my game would probably be speed and skills. I feel like I can use the ball reasonably well. Definitely an area for growth would be my marking. I think transitioning into the AFL system as more of a wing forward than an inside mid as a junior, I think being a strong overhead mark is something really vital for my role. So hopefully can improve in that over the coming years. And then I think best player in the draft, I could never really go past Will. I always admired the way he went about his footy. I think we played against each other from under 11s, or with each other from under 11s all the way through the state stuff. But I also really like Reef McInnes from Collingwood. He's a very good player. Okay,
cool. Mr. Aylwood on Twitter wants to know just how you guys, I suppose, are coping with the losses of the early season so far. So Tommy, being out there, we've been smashed a couple of times, but, shown some good things, but it's been difficult. How do you cope with that?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really think about it too much. I know there's a lot of noise externally around the footy club, but I try to sort of focus on the team and what I'm doing in it and not really worry about other things. It was really enjoyable playing the first 3 quarters of the Crows game where we were super competitive and bring heaps of excitement and energy. So I think we've shown we can do that, and the more we can do it, the more, I guess, enjoyable it might become playing.
Yeah, cool. Bradley Wood on Facebook. If you're 15 to 20 years down the track, this is going to go against your philosophy though, Tommy, about thinking too far ahead. But what do you want to be remembered for in your footy career at North Melbourne?
For me personally, I'd just like to be remembered as a great teammate and someone that you always will love playing with.
Charlie?
I think similar to Tommy, you do definitely want to be remembered and recognised as a really good teammate. But I think from the moment I came into the club, I always had the aspiration to play 200 games. I think that's been something at the back of my mind for as long as I can remember. And I think if you're able to play 200 solid games of AFL football, everything else takes care of itself. And hopefully there's a few premierships along the way for the North Melbourne supporters too.
Will?
Yeah, probably similar to the other guys. Just a great teammate and someone who really looked out for other people, and someone that was themselves, wasn't afraid to be themselves. So that's pretty simple for me.
Eddie?
Yeah, just remember as a great teammate, someone the boys like playing footy with, and someone who can always be counted on for the header of the footy and do team things, as well as hopefully win a couple of premierships. That'd be the ultimate dream and goal for us. I think just win a premiership or two. That'd be awesome.
Cool. Flash Nicole on Twitter wants to know about Kangalotto, who out of this talented quartet has fallen foul of this wonderfully funny game. Will you just put your hand to your face? So we'll go to you first.
Yeah, it wasn't really wonderfully funny, Heath. But yeah, had to shave my head, and I was actually, for the first Kangalotto when they did it, I was actually at home sick, so I spent like a week at home, and yeah, received the news via Charlie on Snapchat. And
You reckon it could have been rigged?
Yeah, 100%.
You want to see video of that draw.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know, it's basically a lotto where if your name gets drawn out, you have to shave your head, essentially. It's about as basic as that.
Just glad I didn't have to tip my hair, because that's been one in the past.
Yeah, and there are other things. They've been in the past. There's been like wash the coach's car and make lunch for everyone and all that sort of stuff. So I don't know what things you've got there at the moment, but head shave's always been a constant. Did you have it too, Tommy, or did you just decide to do that yourself?
Oh yeah, that's classic Heath. No, I tried to cut my own hair and it went pear-shaped, and I had to get the barber to fix it, so it's pretty short at the moment. But it's all right, its hair will grow.
Going back. I think Charlie and Eddie are pretty lucky because, Will, you're probably right in suspecting that it could have been rigged. So in the past, like numbers like Ben Brown's number was drawn conveniently, and others with long hair. So I reckon Charlie and Ed, you should look out. I think Will Walker should be really, really scared at the moment as well.
Yeah, 100%.
So we've got some specific ones that we'll just race through now for you, Will. And then so Gus Brown wants to know, being such an in and under midfielder or a bull, which past or present player would you compare your game to, or would you like to sort of be like?
Good question. Last year when I was being asked by recruiters, I probably said Lachie Neale or Joel Selwood. Yeah, because Lachie Neale was going well at the time. Yeah, but still good.
Peter Stolzian says to you, Will, we also you grabbed the jumper after kicking your first goal. Congratulations. It was an emotional sight for supporters. If you had to pick one thing, what do you love the most about North Melbourne?
What I love the most, clubs I think are built on people, and the people at the club and the mindset that we have. I think it's very down to earth and grounded. So, and yeah, that historical part of it as well. Like, we recognise and appreciate the history and where the people who have been at the club before us have come from. Yep.
Ryan Ma said, obviously taking into account that you guys missed, or the Victorian boys missed a whole year of football. So how far off from AFL standard with diet and training were you pre-draft, do you reckon? Now coming into the system and seeing what's required, how far off were you?
Yeah, probably. I like to think I was pretty professional, especially last year when I had to force myself to train and to set myself habits and goals in isolation, because I had no one else there or no structure to do it for me. So I wasn't like too far off the pace, but there were some things that I definitely needed to adapt, I think, just according to what I was told and the way it works and all. Yeah.
Okay. For you, Tommy, Josh Bosnar, he's likened you to Simon Black. How's the transition from South Australia to Victoria been? And what advice would you give other South Australians that might be making the move in the next draft, or even if they get traded across to other Victorian clubs?
Yeah, I think the most important thing to do is just be open-minded. I think I'm a pretty independent person, so I'm with a host family at the moment, and they've really helped me to find my feet. So you'll meet people once you get here, and all the Vic boys, they're decent blokes like the SA boys are, I guess. But I don't know. I think just you'll get so immersed in the footy club, and you'll enjoy your time so much that you won't forget about your family. But I guess you won't sit there and dwell on them all day.
Okay. For you, Eddie, Daniel Ketchley, away from footy, what's your biggest motivation in life, and how do you go about achieving this? By the way, I reckon your debut's very near. That's what he says.
Thanks, Daniel. I think one of my motivations in life, and for most people as well, is just to be the best person they can. I think, footy takes care of itself, and that's obviously a big motivator, but outside of footy and what you're doing there is also a great motivation to, I think, just being the best person you can, doing all the right things to fulfill that is really important. So not only will it benefit you, but benefit people around you, just being a good person.
For you, Charlie, from Adam Marinello, you've clearly got speed. Has this been something you've always had through like your junior life at school? And, did you do athletics or anything like that? Like, have you always been quick as a kid?
Yeah, I was always reasonably quick as a junior. I feel like I was lucky that I took up athletics from a really young age. And I did that all the way through until the end of year 12, really, with school sport and school athletics. And it's something that I probably wish I took a bit more seriously as a junior. I feel like I probably could have competed at maybe a higher level as a younger kid, but obviously footy was my number one priority. And I really enjoyed obviously doing athletics at Geelong College against Will for Caulfield and some of the boys that you crossed paths with, but it was really good.
Did you beat Will?
Will did athletics.
I don't know whether we beat Will. I think we raced off in a 4x400 relay together once. I don't know. I think that Caulfield probably got the better of us, to be honest.
I can't remember. Glad's ran more races than I did. He's a good 800 metre runner, which is probably not my biggest strong suit. So yeah, it would have been me in that.
Adam Marinello just has a follow-up question. He's a great supporter of the club, Mara. Who would you say the best runner at the club is?
Or it depends what event, Adam.
They just like endurance, like who just...
Oh, Jai. Jai's the best. He's somewhat like, and I remember the first few weeks of preseason when we had a few little scratch games. You try and keep up with him, and you just grind. He's one of those players that just grinds you down, and eventually you're just absolutely knackered. But in terms of speed, I'd probably say Steve-O or Phoenix Spicer. Those two are absolutely rapid. So I'd love to see a 50, 100 meter race of those two against each other. That'd be really good to watch.
Absolutely. Well, boys, that wraps it up. I just want to thank you all for your time in answering the questions from the members. It's really important that we engage with the members, and getting questions direct to you guys is pretty special for them as well, I imagine. So thanks to you guys. Thanks also to the members for sending in the questions. We'll have heaps more of these forums coming up throughout the year. But boys, have a great afternoon. Good luck on the weekend. And thanks again.
Good.
Thanks, Heath. Cheers.
Thanks, guys.